Good morning, church family. It's Friday morning. I want to welcome you to this week's edition of BHC Today. I think spring may be in the air. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful time in Arizona. And I was thinking about a word to share with you on this morning, and I was reading this week about Moses. Moses has got to be one of my favorite characters in all the Bible. Many people say he lived to be 120 years old. The first 40 years, he was a prince in Egypt. The second 40 years, he was a shepherd in the desert. And the next final 40 years, he was leading the Israelites out of Egypt into the land of Egypt. So some people say he spent the first 40 years of his life as a somebody, the second 40 years of his life as a nobody, and the final 40 years showing what God can do will make a somebody out of a nobody. Sometimes I talk to people and they feel like they're nobodies. Many of you feel like you're older and past your prime, and maybe that God cannot use you. Maybe that you're just in God's waiting room. That's what they say about Sun City sometimes. But did you know Moses was in God's waiting room in the desert? He was 80 years old and probably didn't think God had any plans for him. And when God spoke to him and said, Moses, I want you to go to Egypt and talk to Pharaoh and set my people free. Moses said, do what? You don't want me. I'm too old. I don't even know how to speak. I don't have any leadership skills. Those guys, remember, I'm a fugitive back there. I can't go there. You see, he was speaking like a nobody. But when he simply listened to God and he obeyed God and trusted God, the rest was history. God used Moses in a mighty way to lead the Israelites out of Egypt after 400 years of captivity. It's an amazing story about what God can do with nobodies when they place their trust in him. I don't know about you, but there's many times in life when I felt like a nobody, when I'm tired, I'm worn out, and I think that God no longer wants to use me or is able to use me. But then I see a glimpse of hope that if I will realize it's not me, but it's Christ in me. It's God who wants to work in me. And when I say yes to God, when I depend upon God, and when I trust in God, he can do great things. So the next time you feel like a nobody, the next time you feel washed up, the next time you feel like there's no purpose or meaning in life, think about Moses and listen to God and trust God and obey God. And then you will see what God can do with a nobody who places his trust in him. What God can do when a nobody believes. You see, God's specialty is making somebodies out of nobodies every day. May God bless you and be encouraged.